you know that over 1/3 of the overall food production goes to waste every year? Roughly 80% is still edible when it turns out in a landfill. That's an incredible number. No? It's like if I go shopping, I come out with 3 full bags and I throw one in the bin before even reaching my car. That's a lot of waste. And this happens now in the whole world, but especially in Europe, where we have 1/4 of the overall population which is at the brink of poverty. During COVID pandemic, we had over 40% increase in people of need of a meal in food banks and charities. So this is a huge ethical issue that we have to deal with. But on top of that, with that bag that we throw in the bin, we throw also all the water that we have used to irrigation, all the fertilizer that we have produced and used to grow that crop, all the gasoline that was used in the tractors and in the truck to carry around the food, and also the energy that was used to process that food and making it available for us in the supermarkets. That's also a huge environmental issue. If food waste were a country, it would be the 3rd country in the world for global warming emission, only second to China and United States. So, with my research group, we start thinking about how we could try and contribute to solving this issue. We are researchers in the field of renewable energy, specifically on biomass and waste to energy. We know that if you use organic waste, you heat it up a bit without oxygen, it becomes methane. And methane, it's in the biogas, so-called, it's a renewable energy. We can use it to produce electricity. We can sell that electricity, and with the money, we can try and support the charities that bring food to people in need. We can try and teach people how to stop food waste. In this, we got inspired by the Nobel Prize Peace recipient Muhammad Yunus. He's the inventor of microcredit. He said to young people, please become social businessmen. Why that? Because making money is not fun. Making money while you save the world, that's really fun. And so, we tried to think how we could put together the energy from waste part of the problem as a solution to the overall food waste. So we went and see where did food waste happen. And in developing countries, most of it, 40% of it, happens in the agricultural phase, in the transformation phase. But in developed country, in Europe, over 50%, 53% is in households. So it's our responsibility, it's the consumer's responsibility to avoid food waste. How does that happen? Well, first, it happens because we buy too much. We buy much more than we are able to consume before it gets spoiled. So that's one issue. Why do we buy too much? Second issue is that some type of food, especially fruit and vegetables, don't even reach the supermarket because their shape, their image is not nice. They don't look good, but they are good. They are perfectly nutritious and tasty. But we will never find them in the supermarket because we have taught them that we don't like that shape. We don't want to buy that type of food. So it doesn't reach the supermarkets anymore. And then there's the labeling contest. Why contest? Because are we all sure that we are able to read that label properly? Do we know the difference between sell-by date and best by? I'm not sure about that. So sometimes we just read the date, we see that has expired, and we throw away that food, even if it's perfectly edible. Yogurt, for example, you can eat yogurt even 10 days after the date on the label. And then there is the overgrowing of portion size in restaurants. This is another big theme, also because restaurants are usually not pushing to give you a doggy bag to bring home what you have not consumed, and we are also not eager to ask for one. So usually we leave a lot of food on the plate at the restaurant, and that's not good as well. So how can we try and stop this? Well, we need to make excess food available, for example, for charities. We need to start and buy better and consume better, and therefore we need campaigns, information to consumers to tell the story. We need money to do that. We need money to pay the gasoline for the charity to go and get the food. We need money to print the documents that explain how to read the label. Where do we get the money? We can get the money by selling the electricity produced by food waste. Because as perfect a system may be, there will always be some waste. And the important point is not to bring it to a landfill, but to transform it into renewable energy. So we can use that money for good. So that's what we tried and succeeded actually in building a business model. We are demonstrating it right now in Umbria region. That's the region where I live in. It's a circular economy model in which we use waste to produce energy, and we use the resources deriving from selling that energy to finance charities and information campaigns to consumer. As I said, we are doing that in Umbria region, specifically in Perugia and Terni, but also in other towns. We have developed an information campaign that gives us real information on how to read the labels, on which kind of food you can consume after the expiration date, in how to organize your fridge so that you can always see what you've got in and what's going to expire in a short term. We have talked with schools in Perugia and Terni, and we have given some information to professors so they can give them back to students on how to avoid food waste. We have installed in those schools some containers in which families can bring food to give to charities. The food that they're not going to consume in time, obviously perfectly edible food, to charities. We have also distributed over 100,000 doggy bags in restaurants overall Umbria for last-minute meals and also for consumers to bring home what they did not eat. These doggy bags have inside information on how to reduce food waste and what are the benefits of reducing it. Finally, we have installed in supermarket and malls some videos that explain what are the benefits of reducing food waste, and we have positioned them in the areas where pre-expiration date food is sold. So the consumers can also learn what is the environmental benefit, what is the emission reduction if you buy that food before it becomes waste. And also how to cook with leftovers. How was this financed? Where did we get the money? We get the money from public incentives, but most of all from the production of electricity through methane coming from waste food. In Umbria region, we have a partnership with a biogas plant, waste management companies, and food industries that bring their waste. Obviously, we had to design this business model because not necessarily is environmentally friendly to go and pick up some waste which is very far, because you need to send a truck to get that, and the truck consumes gasolines. So are we sure that the methane that waste food produces is worth the trip of the truck? How did we do that? We built up a software that does the optimization of all the trucks that you need to go and pick up this waste food, depending on the methane potential that waste food can produce. For example, waste chocolate, expired chocolate, produces a lot of methane. Carrots produce low quantity of methane. Therefore, it's worthwhile to go and pick up chocolate, even if it's far away. It's not that worth doing that with carrot if it's too far. How did we know that? Well, we didn't know that. So we made chemical analysis in the lab. We tested over 100 types of food waste to see what was the methane potential. We kept that food waste for 40 days in the lab, and we measured how much methane was produced. Then we put that all in the database. This software is linked to Google Maps for the distances and to the database on waste food. And it designs the overall business model. This software is free of charge, and you can download it from the website. So everybody can transfer our experience in their own region, in whatever part of Europe. Right now, as I said, we are demonstrating it here in Umbria, the land of St. Francis. St. Francis was the first one that told us to love nature and to be in equilibrium with nature. So our project is focused on the sustainability of this business model. And in Umbria region, we will be able to avoid the production of 3,400 tons per year of food waste. This corresponds of avoiding 8,500 tons of CO2 in the atmosphere. And every time you reproduce this model around the world, you will get the same numbers. So the potentiality are very big for this. And so we took the opportunity to speak about this to Muhammad Yunus himself when he came to Assisi. Assisi is obviously the town of St. Francis. And it was in line with his idea of development. He used to say, what we're doing is not charity, it's business, but it's business with a social objective. And in our case, it's not only a social objective, it's also an environmental objective. So, to wrap this up, if you are a public servant, please try and check if you can reproduce this business model in your area. But if you're a consumer, and we all are a consumer, I give you 3 tips to help us reduce food waste. The first one, when you go shopping, please do it after you have eaten, of course, and take a picture of your fridge so you can always keep track of what you already have and you avoid buying too much. When you go to a restaurant, always ask for a doggy bag for your leftovers. Why that? Because you will also give a message to the restaurant that he has to provide them and tell people to do that. Third, try and cook your leftovers. You can do that easily. There's a lot of recipes in the internet, so don't get depressed when you see in the fridge your last evening meal, because you can do something special with that. So, if you want to get involved, help us, and you can also reduce your food waste and help save the planet.